I just wanna rewind, bring me back to my prime. The Wi-Fi still felt so live. Freestyling on beats outside. Whole squad with the sour spray vibes. No fake flex, just ride. All love, not likes. I just wanna go back in time.
Ooh, take me back to the roof where we talk big dreams and truth. Now we just scroll through pixels, fake friends, filter signals. But I remember that summer jam, skate shoes and that marching band.
First heartbreak, first slow dance. Now I'm just trying to make sense of plans.
Ooh, take me back to the roof.
Hey everybody, Stacey McCaskill here, Hemp and Healing Grassroots, our weekly podcast. We are now starting at 7:30 live every Thursday evening, and I am running a couple of minutes late. I will try to make it on time, 7:30. I have no producer tonight. Leon went to an awesome event at the McHenry Chamber, and so I'm producing myself tonight. So allow me to stumble my way through. I very much appreciate anybody that wants to call in kind of through your computer, log in and join us live. That link is on our Facebook page. I posted it about a half an hour ago onto the Hemp Stock Farms Facebook page. I think it also cross posts onto Instagram automatically. I don't know. I am not a tech expert. So if you can find that link somewhere, I think there's a way to add it to the screen, but even that, I don't know. Oh, wait, here's a thing. Let's see if I can do this. It's StreamYard.com. And then I've got a little code here that you need to type in after that. Let's see if I can put this on the screen. Let's do this. Nope. There must be a way. Oh, banner. There we go. Let's make a little banner ticker. Create banner. Add banner. Banner. All right. Show this banner instead. There we go. Okay. So if you're seeing this because you're watching me live, you just happen to catch this on the live stream because we're live streaming right now to our Hempstock Farms YouTube page. We're also live streaming to our LinkedIn page, which is under my name, Stacey McCaskill, the LinkedIn page. And then if you want to join me, and then basically you'll be like a little talking head right next to me. I could actually add you to the screen. If you don't want to be added and you just want to talk online and just kind of like a call in kind of feature, you do the same thing. You click on this link, StreamYard.com/5433I5D5WG. And that is the same link that you'll go to week in, week out. It doesn't change. So join me at that link every Thursday at 7:30, and you can join me for the podcast and have a chat with me. I really want to get right into it. There is so much to talk about on hemp and cannabis this week. Lots been happening, and I pulled up some articles so that we can talk through it. The last 3 episodes, I was already talking about the CBD program that the government announced, and we kind of explained, went through all that and explained how that works, that it is that you have to be prescribed CBD by a physician or a health clinic and healthcare clinic that is one of the Medicare providers. And I better look, I just got a ding, and I don't know, hopefully all my sound and everything is working. I'm just going to look at this real quick. No, it was Jane responding to me about we're working on our yogurt project right now. So you could also text me at my number 630-301-2010 if you want to send any comments and have me mention it on the live stream as well. Okay, back to what I was talking about. So this program, the reason for this program and what they're trying to attempt here is what they're saying is to all of these people that are in this group purchasing organization that are providing Medicare, Medicaid covered services, that those physicians and clinicians, if they choose to, they can prescribe CBD. And the only reason that they would do this is if they feel that that's clinically needed. In other words, they feel that, and not just clinically needed, let me clarify. I would say that it is cost effective. So the idea behind prescribing CBD or making this $500 worth of CBD available through your Medicare is that it should reduce overall Medicare payouts over the long term. And so what they're doing is they're getting these providers that are willing to prescribe CBD, giving them the option to go ahead and prescribe that. And then they're going to trace the outcomes and see if there is a cost reduction through prescribing CBD. And that Cornbread Hemp is the exclusive provider to that Alliant group, which is the GPO group, the group purchasing organization that sells to these 68,000 Medicare service providers. But not all 68,000 are going to be doing it. It's like which they decide, I guess, whether they want to participate or not. And if they want to participate, my understanding is they're buying the CBD ahead of time from Cornbread Hemp, and Cornbread Hemp is shipping it to I don't know if it's drop shipped or if just the paperwork flows through. I'm not sure how the inventory is flowing. But our previous conversation about this, just to wrap up this little summary on what we talked about already, is that I was just curious what kind of CBD is going into that system, because full spectrum hemp will not be allowed come November 12th. And that's all that Cornbread Hemp really deals in right now is full spectrum. And my still outstanding question is, are they procuring an isolate and then making an isolate only gummy or a tincture, and then that's the product that they're selling into this Alliant group? So I'd be curious about the details. A lot of these things, and we're going to look into it today. A lot of this cannabis and hemp kind of stuff, that you get these really like big headlines, but nobody explains the details to you, and you really got to look into the stuff to try to figure out what's going on. So, so let's talk about what's happened recently. So first of all, let's talk about hemp. Before we get into the marijuana rescheduling, let's talk about hemp. This week, or apparently yesterday, Senator Rand Paul has filed a bill or filed some language. Let's go take a look at, I'm going to take a look at an article. Let me share that. Let's see if I can figure out how to do it here on my StreamYard. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to do this one, share. Close that. All right. And this is, I got some of these links. I went to ChatGPT. You can kind of see source ChatGPT to find some really good quality links to read about this. So this link, I think this one, this is Mountaintop Media. I don't know how reliable these folks are, but let's take a look at this. So this is Senator, let me make sure I am showing this on my screen, and I am. Okay, let me go back to here so I can read it. So it says Senator Paul files bill to allow states to opt out of impending hemp THC ban. Okay, so again, this isn't just a hemp THC. I mean, it's like no THC in hemp, I guess. I guess that's a fair article. No full spectrum CBD, basically. Washington, D.C. this article was updated on 420. Isn't that interesting? Happy 420, everyone, by the way. Washington, D.C. Last year, U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell inserted language in the agricultural appropriations bill that would implement a near total ban on all, near total, come on, people. It is a total ban on all intoxicating hemp products. It's a total ban. It's even a ban on full spectrum products. Now his cross-state colleague is seeking to put that decision in the hands of the states. So Rand Paul, actually, there was a big movement. Senator Paul had pushed for a 2-year extension. So that was the one thing everybody was working on. I myself went to Washington, D.C. with the Haifa Hemp Industry and Farmers Association and lobbied with them there. We were lobbying and trying to get some kind of progress on putting in an extension. Like, let's not implement this language in November of this year. Give us 2-year extension. That went nowhere. So now this apparently is a new technique, and everybody in the hemp world's all excited about this. And I don't know. I feel like it's probably going to go the same place as the 2-year. I mean, if you can't handle a 2-year ban or a 2-year extension, who do you think is going to handle like putting it back in the hands of the states to make it even more complicated again? I don't know. It just like, give us the 2-year extension, then you guys can go talk about this. Like, how are the states going to regulate it? Like, yeah, a state could reject the ban, but then what? Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's read the article. So it says U.S. Senator Rand Paul has introduced the Hemp Safety Enforcement Act, which would allow states and tribal governments to opt out, states and tribal governments to opt out of the ban by enforcing their own standards. The bipartisan bill is co-sponsored by Senator Johnny Ernst and Senator Amy Klobuchar. Half the states have already set up their own smart rules, THC limits, age restrictions, and safety standards that let hemp farmers grow, manufacturers innovate, and consumers stay safe. Washington shouldn't wipe out those efforts or destroy good jobs and access to products to help our veterans, our elderly, and families across the country. This bill gives states the freedom to regulate hemp responsibly. Keep scrolling and I messed up. To regulate this bill, I lost it. I lost my screen here. Let's see. This bill gives states the freedom to regulate hemp responsibly while keeping dangerous synthetics off the market and ensuring products can move freely between states. The bill seeks to protect a $28 billion industry. And it talks about the legalization. Under the Safety Enforcement Act, states would be able to opt out of the ban while leaving in place safeguards such as minimum age requirements and a ban on synthetic cannabinoids. The bill has been endorsed by the Veterans of Foreign Wars of Kentucky, U.S. Hemp Roundtable, Hemp Beverage Alliance, Hemp Industry and Farmers of America. That's the one that I've lobbied with, and Cornbread Hemp. Of course, Cornbread Hemp. Yeah, we're going to endorse it. I don't know. These are all the same people that were fighting for the 2-year extension. So what has changed here? Why? I personally, I don't know. I don't see it. Let me see if there's another article. All right, so let's see what this one says. So this is Forbes. New bipartisan bill would let states opt out of federal hemp THC ban. All right, this was published April 17th. So they got the drop on it. A bipartisan bill introduced in the Senate this week aims to create a federal regulatory framework for hemp products containing THC that would give states In Indian tribes, flexibility to set their own rules, opting out of the federal ban and effectively providing a lifeline for the hemp industry. The proposed legislation filed by Republican Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky would give more authority to individual states and tribal governments over how hemp and hemp-derived products are defined and regulated. Under the bill, states and tribes would be able to enforce their own rules within the federal framework as long as they meet certain minimum requirements, such as setting a minimum age for purchasing hemp THC products. The bill would also allow interstate commerce of hemp, even between states or tribes with different regulations, as long as the products comply with the laws of both jurisdictions. The ban on hemp intoxicating products. The bill comes at a crucial moment for hemp industry. Last year, Congress closed the so-called loophole that allowed intoxicating hemp-derived products such as Delta-8 THC, Delta-9 THC, all the others to be sold as hemp, and has set a 1-year transition period before the new restrictions fully take effect in November 2026. Okay. Now, this is the other thing. So here's 2 articles that say that a bill is being introduced. You follow that link and you go look up the bill. And I'm share this tab instead. So here's the bill. This is the actual congress.gov where they, file all this stuff where the public can go and look this stuff up. So here we have the Senator Rand Paul. It's in committee right now, the Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry. And when you go to look for information on this, this is a summary. Summary says nothing. And then you go look for the text. Text says, the text hasn't been received, but it says that Senate Bill 4315 is a bill to amend the Agriculture Marketing Act of 1946 to maintain certain state and tribal laws relating to hemp and for other purposes. So, no action. It's been referred to committee, so it's in the committee, and there's nothing else. You could see Amy's down here, Clochabar as co-sponsor. Oh, and it looks like very recent breaking news here. Senator Ernst, the so-called bipartisan bill, Senator Ernst withdrew. It's still bipartisan because you got Paul and you got Senator Rand Paul, and you have Senator Clochabar. So I guess there's your Republican and your Democrat. I don't know why Senator Ernst, the Republican from Iowa, got removed, but that's happened. So I don't know. I guess my point about all of this is that there's no language here. And this is like an even more complicated solution, because now the language that's got to be put in there has people got to agree on that. It's like much easier to say, let's push it out 2 years and then let's figure out how the states can reject the federal language and implement their own language. I mean, we don't have a 21 plus in Illinois right now. So if the language in there said that you had to have 21 plus and a certain kind of labeling laws and that kind of thing on finished products that were made from hemp-derived cannabinoids, then they got to write that in there, because, that's not our current law. And we've been fighting for it. We fought for it last year. Rachel Berry from the Illinois Hemp Growers Association has been working on it for several years. It's making zero progress for us to implement our own 21 plus, the age gating to implement purity potency regulations. I mean, our industry was down for that. We wrote a bill, we proposed it, it went nowhere. So we didn't even try to lobby for that again this year because it's just, doesn't seem to be any appetite for it. And no matter how much education we do down at the Capitol, I've personally been down there, half a dozen times lobbying for this. And, we might educate one or two people every time we go down, but it's just, they don't care enough about this industry to accept or make any of those changes. So I don't know. My thought is that that's a headline. Senator Paul files, bill to save the hemp industry kind of thing. That's a headline that all those organizations that were in that Forbes article, let me go back to share this tab again. All those organizations, where did they list all the organizations again that were the supporting ones? I think it was in this one. Wanted to read those again. Maybe it was on the other tab. Maybe it was this one. Is it on this tab? Yes. So bill has been endorsed by the Veterans Foreign Wars. I love Veterans Foreign Wars. Boy, they've been on this from the beginning and really see hemp-derived CBD and other cannabinoids have provided such relief to veterans. So I'm so thankful for their support for sure. We have U.S. Hemp Roundtable, Hemp Beverage Alliance, Hemp Industry and Farmers of America, Cornbread Hemp. So all these folks, they were advocating before when we were asking for a 2-year extension, didn't go anywhere. And I feel like this is just a new headline for both Senator Paul and all of these organizations, from the Roundtable, the Beverage Alliance, the HIFA group. I think it's all headlines for them to raise money. And I think people were, I'm sure their donors were falling off. I kind of saw it even in my own interest of how I was kind of falling off of HIFA and actively attending like their weekly briefings and all of that. It just didn't seem like any progress was being made. And then this new announcement comes out, Rand Paul files bipartisan bill and blah, 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 and it's going to do this and it's going to do that. And it gets everybody all excited again. It re-energizes that base saying, hey, maybe we can save hemp. Maybe we can save. There's something happening. Give us another $5,000, give us another $10,000, give us another $100 a month or whatever. And let's keep fighting this fight. And I'm very cynical about it. I think it's all like just for fundraising and for show. And I just don't see why people who were against an extension would be for this instead. I just don't feel that there are any hardcore states' rights people that really care to see this pushed back into the states. And I don't know. I don't know. I wish I was doing a better job at advertising when I'm doing this streaming, because I would love to have some of you guys call in and tell me what your thoughts are on all of this. All right, so let's go on to another topic. It's very, similar to this, but so that's on hemp. Now let's switch over to marijuana. And, a few months ago when President Trump signed an executive order and announced that they were going to do that CBD program with the Medicare, Medicaid stuff, Trump had also talked about in that same press conference getting the marijuana to be reclassified to Schedule 3. So this has apparently happened. And so let's look at some of these articles. Let's see, one had a little video. I want to play a little video. Let me do it on this thing or not. Maybe this one. Did this one have a little video? No. Well, I'll just read this one first. Let's see. Let me switch over to this one. All right. So this one is by The Guardian. No, I don't want to do The Guardian. I'm going to do, let me show this tab instead. I'm going to do the New York Post first. Oh, there's where our video is. But I think this isn't the video about the marijuana stuff. That's what I want to talk about. That's an ad. And that's just about how. Okay, so here we go. So the title of the article is Trump's DOJ, Department of Justice, downgrades marijuana, removing it from same drug class as heroin and ranking it like medication. So let's hear this, how this article is written. Washington. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche on Thursday reclassified marijuana, taking out of the same Schedule I class as heroin and LSD and putting it into the less dangerous Schedule III category, along with drugs that have proven medical uses. The move will ease federal approval and funding for research into pot's properties and extend tax benefits to the cannabis industry operating under laws of dozens of states. Under the decisive leadership of President Trump, this Department of Justice is delivering on his promise to improve American healthcare, Blanche tweeted along with a photo of himself signing the document. Blanche wrote he was immediately rescheduling FDA-approved marijuana, and state-licensed marijuana from Schedule I to Schedule III, and ordering a new expedited hearing with set deadlines to fully reschedule marijuana. So right now, marijuana is only rescheduled if it is coming from a state licensed facility, and that the full rescheduling of it will be done at a later date after hearings are done. And I mean, who knows what's going to happen there. Let's see if they talk any more about it here. A change to marijuana's drug classification is a step in the wrong direction, said Tom Cotton, Republican from Arkansas. Marijuana today is much more potent than just 10 or 20 years ago, leading to increased psychosis, antisocial behavior, and fatal car crashes. Arkansas don't want more dangerous drugs obtained more easily. Trump stuck to his guns and enacted the downgrade despite 22 GOP senators signing a letter in December pleading him to reconsider. The president complained aloud during the Oval Office event Saturday that they're slow walking me on rescheduling. Trump said Thursday afternoon that his decision was motivated by lobbying from entrepreneur Howard Kessler, a leukemia survivor whom the president called a straight arrow, who found that pot helped him with pain relief during cancer treatments. Hopefully you don't need it, but if you do need it, I hear it's the best of all the alternatives, Trump said at the Oval Office event after Blanche made the change official. All right. I mean, you guys got to go and read this because and read some of these articles. That's a New York Post one. This one is from The Guardian. Trump administration moves to ease federal restrictions on marijuana. So the problem with this is, I just want to see if anybody talks about. Okay, here we go. Notably, I highlight this section. Oh, wait, I got to share this tab. All right. Notably, I highlight a section here. This is the Guardian article. Notably, rescheduling will not immediately legalize marijuana or affect the sentences of those incarcerated for possession. It also does not immediately mean full legalization, and it will still be subject to business banking restrictions, in part due to continued risks under anti-money laundering laws. Marijuana is currently legal in some form in 40 U.S. states. It is generally illegal to transport Schedule III drugs across state lines without authorization. So reclassification would not necessarily allow producers to transport across state lines. Marijuana legal states have built huge surpluses of the drug, leading to a crash in wholesale prices known as the ganja glut. Roger Stone, a Republican operative, recently told Marijuana Moment it was vitally important to get marijuana reclassified before the midterm elections due to its appeal to young and libertarian voters. The announcement comes 3 weeks after Pam Bondi was fired. Bondi opposed marijuana reform in Florida when she was Attorney General. Let's see. DEA scheduling placements are based upon the substance's medical use, potential for abuse, and safety and dependence liability. Talks about people who support it. So that is the article from The Guardian. And then this was the article from AP. Trump reclassifies state licensed medical marijuana as less dangerous in a historic shift. Let's see if there. Oh, I thought this was good. Let me share this tab. So this is the article from the AP, and they have a really cool little infographic here that shows most states now allow medical or recreational consumption of marijuana, though it remains illegal at the federal level. So marijuana is legal for recreational and medical use in all these green colored states, and for medical use only in all of the yellow states here. And then the gray ones like Idaho, Wyoming, Iowa, Wisconsin, Indiana, Tennessee, these are all not legal medically or recreationally. I thought Wisconsin just passed their medical. Maybe they're still illegal. Yeah. But you can kind of see the states that have neither, have no marijuana legalization. What do I think about this? Well, let me go back to, I don't know if I was sharing that at all. Let me go back to that one thing. I want to make sure I'm sharing that one page. Add to stage. There we go. I wasn't sharing that screen earlier, but there's the screen. So this is that infographic that's kind of showing all the states that are legal. So again, the green states have both recreational and medical. The yellow states have medical only. And then the gray states don't have any legalization whatsoever. So that's that infographic from AP. So again, my thought about this, and we're kind of pushing our time to, I'm going to try to wrap this up in the next 60 seconds or so and just kind of update you on these big happenings within the hemp and cannabis industry. I think what's interesting is you would think that when that rescheduling actually happened, it's going to open up research, right? So there's that thing. And the biggest thing that it's doing, again, it's not really helping consumers that much, although we might see some reduction in prices, because what that rescheduling has enabled is anyone that's selling, as I understand it, they have to be selling medical marijuana. I don't think the recreational folks can enjoy these tax deductions now, but maybe it's across the board. Maybe anybody who's dealing in marijuana can now actually deduct their expenses. And there was this crazy rule that was implemented. This was one of the reasons it's more expensive to buy cannabinoids at a legal marijuana dispensary, either medical or recreational, than it is to buy hemp-derived cannabinoids, is because their expenses are so much higher. They have much stricter tracking of their inventory. They have just super tons of onerous regulations where the cameras are, how they hire their staff and train staff, what the facilities need to look like, all the security stuff that has to be implemented. I mean, it's just crazy, one thing after another. So not only are their expenses higher than a hemp-derived, place, seed to label, kind of like Hemp Stock Farms, but they can't deduct any of their expenses. So when they do their taxes at the end of the year, they have to pay tax on the top line, the retail sales line. They can't deduct any of their expenses, their operational expenses. So this reclassifying, what that does do is it enables them to now be able to deduct their expenses. So that's good. That is reportedly, go Google it and look and get a couple articles and read about it if you're interested in that tax piece of it. But basically, that's going to be a huge refund or a huge boon to people operating legal marijuana, both medical and recreational dispensaries around the nation, as they'll be able to reduce their tax burden greatly as a result of this rescheduling. But what happened to stocks? I mean, I wonder if I still have that article. I thought I had it pulled up. Where is it? Let me see if I can share that. No, that's not it. Is it under here? Yes. Is that it? Let's see if share this tab. Okay. So I went and I'm not wrapping this up in 5 minutes like I promised. I do want to say this one last thing about the watch where stock goes. So this rescheduling, the cannabis, this is from MarketWatch. So it says the cannabis rescheduling is causing celebration and confusion as marijuana stocks sell off. So here again, we have Tilray stock initially surged as much as 19% Thursday on the reclassification news, then sold off to close down 12%. So basically we have like stock surging on the news, and then within the very same day, all these stocks kind of selling off and crashing. So again, here the caption says cannabis stocks initially flew high on the rescheduling, but ended Thursday sharply lower. Marijuana stocks sold off Thursday after acting U.S. Attorney General signed an order rescheduling, a move that led to celebration, but also confusion. The order from the Justice Department, let me make sure I'm still broadcasting this onto my other thing here. Let me go on the StreamYard and make sure, hopefully add to stage. Am I adding to the stage? All right, let me go back here. This is hard to produce on my own. I'm just not smart enough for all this stuff. Okay, so I'm back on the MarketWatch page. And this is what's crazy about this. Marijuana stocks sold off Thursday after that was announced. The order from the Justice Department and the DEA immediately moves those products to Schedule 3 bracket of the nation's controlled substances regulatory regime. The same category as ketamine and Tylenol with codeine from Schedule 1, which includes drugs like heroin and LSD. However, a separate hearing for a broader rescheduling of cannabis will start on June 29th. All right. So now, what's the implications of the move? The framing helps but without additional regulatory guidance, the operational complexity runs up the entire supply chain. Cultivators selling to distributors won't know whether their product would ultimately end up in the hands of a medical or a recreational consumer, while distributors don't have guidance yet on how to handle those different categories of transactions. That's what I was saying, is like maybe they got to separate them. Maybe if you run a medical dispensary and a recreational dispensary, you got to like create two separate businesses, and only the medical stuff is tax deductible, but the recreational stuff isn't. I mean, it's crazy. And then this tax deduction thing applies to suppliers, everybody that's involved in the cannabis industry. It's crazy. So it's like, it is super confusing. Let's see. In an example of the celebration and confusion of the news, shares of Canadian cannabis producer Tilray brands ended up down about 12%. But then reverse course to close down, it jumped up like 18%, and then reverse course and ended up closing down 12%. And the stock had been run up in light of the announcement. So I will say this. There is this concept of, let me go back to, remove that and add me back to screen. There is this concept of selling on the news. So my browser lost connection to my screen share. I hope everything's still working. And then I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to cut this off. I'm like 2 more minutes and I'm going to end the stream. There is this concept of selling on the news. So that was a very positive news story, because basically what it's saying is now you have tax deductions. And then the only griping about it was basically, well, this makes my tax deductions crazy complicated. But at least you have some kind of tax deduction. So it seems like the net should be a benefit to the industry on the taxing portionality of it. But there's also this other portion, which I personally believe Big Pharma is behind everything. And I think what's happening is they're trying to push our weed into pharmacy. So the other piece of this was that by moving it from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, now you unlock all this university research. You can get grants. You can start researching cannabis and all those cannabinoids as medicine. So now all these drug companies can really lean into researching all the different cannabinoids that come from the cannabis plant. And I think they're straight away going to start developing drugs. And then that kind of has a counter effect on the marijuana dispensaries, because now you've got drugs. You'll have FDA approved cannabis drugs that you'll be able to get prescribed to you from your physician, pick it up at a pharmacy. That sounds like it's competing directly with these cannabis marijuana providers, both medical and recreational. So I think, and that's exactly what's happening with the CBD program, is like, let's take CBD and let's push it in the pharmacy. You've got to get it prescribed by a doctor and then delivered through our approved vendors, the people that they're going to approve to vend. Who do you think? I mean, Cornbread Hemp, good job, guys. You got in. I mean, congratulations. But it's going to be, it's going to be like our food system, where like all our food is provided by like 5 companies. And you're going to see you're going to see this exact same kind of consolidation. I think it's all going to be shoved into pharmacy, and smokable weed is going to go away. And the only way to get like vapes or raw smokable flower is going to be illegal. I think it's going to be on the black market. This is my prediction. And this is why all these news headlines, everybody that's pro cannabis and wants to completely deschedule the plant, I think some people see these headlines and see it as progress and are like, yay, this is happening. And I think it's a huge conspiracy led by big pharma that wants to take our plants away from us. So that's my take on this week's news. Hope we can have, I can do a better job of advertising this podcast in the future so we can get some folks to come and join us live. I would love to discuss any one of these topics or news headlines that I introduced tonight with all of y'all. And I hope you'll leave some comments in the, in the YouTube channel and the LinkedIn and stuff. I'll happily respond to those. And join us again next week. Thursdays, 7:30. That's my new goal. Thursdays, 7:30. And we'll always try to keep the podcast under an hour. Our goal is 30 to 45 minutes, and I'm just a little over the 45. So thanks for joining us, and I'm out.
I just wanna rewind, bring me back to my prime. The Wi-Fi still felt so live, freestyling on beats outside. Whole squad with the sour spray vibes, no fake flex.